We've all heard the expression, right? The 80-20 rule. Apply this to sales. And we've heard it over and over again. 20% of the salespeople drive 80% of the revenue. If we apply this to your clients, you've heard this over again. 20% of your clients drive 80% of your revenue. In this week's message, I've titled it the one thing that separates the 20% from the 80%. And this is going to directly relate to all of us in sales. And what got me thinking about this was a great book by some dear friends of mine, George Campbell and Jim Packard. They wrote an amazing book. It's called The Consistency Chain. I highly suggest you go grab a copy of The Consistency Chain. Also, head on over to the Selling from the Heart podcast on YouTube, or you can find it on sellingfromtheheart.net, as Jim Packard and George Campbell were just recently on the Selling from the Heart podcast. And what was interesting is in the very beginning of the consistency chain, they went on to define, what's the deciding factor between those 20% versus those 80%. And here's what was interesting. Hang in there with me because this is powerful stuff. And then at the end of our message, I'm going to tie in something that I believe is going to directly attribute to how you can grow sales revenue. But what was interesting in the beginning of the book, The Consistency Chain, George and Jim isolated this, right? They went on to say that they isolated and eliminated the characteristics that were common to both these groups, that being the 20% and 80%. So what they all had in common, what both groups had in common was intelligence, education, talent, ability, motivation, skills, training, and ambition. You see, these were all traits they associated with success and performance, and they were equally present in both these groups, that being the 20% and the 80%. But here was the predominant differentiator. And quite simply, it came down to one word, and that one word was consistency. You see, the 20 percenters, they do what needs to be done when it needs to be done with consistency. The 80 percenters, they know what needs to be done, they know how to do it, but their efforts are spotty, erratic, and sporadic when it comes to inconsistency. It's not that the 80% don't understand the information, they do. But to quote George and Jim, they said the greatest ideas in the world will not work for the 80% because they won't apply them consistently. This is not an intelligence, nor is it a knowledge problem. This is a consistency problem. Folks, that's key on this. Whether you're a business owner, business executive, sales leader, sales manager, sales professional, this all boils down to consistency. I'm a big, huge fan of Craig Rochelle. Just a few months ago, I read his book, The Power to Change, Mastering the Habits That Matter Most. And I oftentimes will quote Craig Rochelle. He's just an amazing human being, great leader out there, and a great pastor. Craig Rochelle went on to say this: successful people are not lucky, they're consistent. As he goes on to say, successful people do consistently what other people do occasionally. Therefore, successful salespeople, yes, that being you, they start and maintain the right habits and they keep doing them. They keep doing them and they keep doing them. You see, there's no secret hack, there's no trick, there's no tip, there's no shortcut to success. It's the combination of these three things: disciplined habits, consistency, and radical levels of self accountability. What say you? What say you? So, here's where I'm going to apply some simple math. Follow along with me, please. You may want to grab a sheet of paper on this. Here's where I'm going to apply some simple math around consistency. And you're going to see how consistency, accountability, and discipline can help you drive monumental sales revenue. And it's going to be around the power of one simple thing you can do every single day. Here's what I'm going to ask you to do: connect, right? Connect and drive conversation with somebody new every single day. Every single day, Monday through Friday. That's five. This is above and beyond what y'all are doing right now. This is 5 new connections and a conversation every single day. Hold yourself accountable to it. Consistent habits will create long-term sales sustainability. So if we do this Monday through Friday, and we say we have a 20-day work month, right? We'll just use 20 days. It's just simple math, right? 5 a day, Monday through Friday, over a month, you will have connected and had one new conversation with 20 people. Do this over a month, right? Then do this month over month over month. At the end of the year, you would have connected and drove conversation with 240 new people. 240 new people. Let's just say half of those get to a next conversation, right? We'll call this a sales opportunity. That's 120 people. Now, let's just say out of those 120 people, I'm going to keep this really low. Let's just say 10% of those 120 people convert, right? Convert to a next step and a next step and a next step, which leads to a sale. Those are 12 additional sales at the end of a year above and beyond what y'all are doing. Let's just say an average sale is $20,000. That's another 240,000 additional revenue dollars, which equate to profit dollars that you all could bring in just simply by connecting to and engaging in one conversation. Now, depending on what your average sale is, you can do the math on this. It's quite simple stuff. It's the power, my friends, of consistency. Consistency will set you apart. It's why if you hang around with me long enough, you know I talk about the difference between sales reps and sales professionals. So this week, go grab yourself a copy of the Consistency Chain. George Campbell, Jim Packard, mad respect for a great book that you had wrote, excuse me. Again, I appreciate each and every one of you because together we're bringing this movement of selling from the heart to the forefront. It's much needed in the sales profession. It's about bringing your heart, being genuine, being sincere. Here at Selling from the Heart, we call it giving a rip. The reason why it's so important is your clients and your future clients, they'd simply rather connect with a sales professional who sells from the heart as opposed to a sales rep who is an empty suit. Have an amazing week.